welcome to Inside Eastern Utah. We're here today with a couple of Boy Scouts. I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably a couple of Eagle Scouts. Are you both? Did you both achieve the Eagle rank?
Unfortunately, not.
Oh my
I
goodness!
shouldn't have brought that up.
was very
Right,
far out.
but
That limb snapped right off when you were on it.
Sorry.
but we have
So-
produced a lot of Eagle
Oh,
Scouts
there you
through
go,
the
even
last
better.
several decades.
That's right. Okay, so we have Mark Mackiewicz, and you are the troop leader for Troop 282
Right,
in Carbon County,
right.
which is a non-religion affiliated scout group. So
Typically we're called the Community Scout Troop. and
Community
we're-
Scout Troop,
We're not
thank you.
affiliated with any, we believe in God, but we are not
Yes.
affiliated with any church.
Okay, perfect. And then you, sir, are here as, you just moved here.
Yes.
And so that's interesting, but tell me what your title is in the Boy Scouts and,
I'm John Mills, and I'm the field director for the eastern Utah area, everything kind of east of the Wasatch Mountains.
And you moved
so
all
I
the
work-
way from Hawaii to
Yes.
serve
Yeah.
the wonderful people, leaders, and Boy Scouts here in this area.
Yes, I'm very excited to be here. I'm loving it. It's
Good.
cold.
I was gonna say, I bet that's a much different climate. You're probably freezing, especially this week. It's been very cold.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
So can you give us a view of what Boy Scout troops look like here in this area of Utah? What trends are you guys seeing? And what does the future look like for the Boy Scouts of America here?
Well, Boy Scouting is very alive, and whether it is religious affiliated or not, we have a lot of strong programs for our youth. It's a great opportunity for young men to be involved with something outside of sports. We are a character-based organization, and so what we do is we try to supplement the teachings that a young man might receive at home from his parents or at school or even at a church to help him become more focused on his character and his morals. We do that though, we do that though through opportunities in the outdoors. We attract youth by providing outdoor adventures, experiences, whether it's hiking, camping, fishing, you name it, it's outdoors, we do it. And that is the attraction. And while they're with us, we assist them and try to teach them the character side of scouting.
And Mark, you've been involved for a number of years. Tell us how long you've been heading Troop 282.
I am headed on my 40th year for heading Scout Troop 282.
That is impressive.
Yes.
Very.
So you've had many outdoor excursions and you've worked with many, many young scouts as well as leading them to their Eagle projects. Tell us a bit about how that has looked for you over the past 40 years.
Well, again, I started back in 1978, heading Scout Troop 282, and at that time, we had a lot of parents, I believe, that were involved in scouting. So scouting, so they encouraged their boys to become active members of a scout troop, and back in those days, our numbers were up 15, 20 scouts, and through the years, we've gone up, we've gone down. We've had our numbers today are a little lower than I would like. I'd like to see our scout troop up to 15 to 20 scouts, but as a whole, scouting is still well and alive. The boys that do enter our scouting program, usually when they enter at 11 years old, they usually stay with me till they're 18. So that's been a trend that's been going on for the last several years. So. Well, I get to know them quite well, and during their youth, they have quite an experience. And as John mentioned, outdoor activities, going from we river run, we mountain climb, we rock climb, we bike, we ski. You name it, an
All
outdoor
kinds of fun
activity.
stuff.
Yeah,
All
that
kinds
sounds
of really cool stuff, and available again for ages 11 all the way to 17. We run a traditional scout program where we have boys at 11 years old that are with scouts that are boys that are 16, 17 years old.
Can anybody join within that age group, or would they have to have gone through the Cub Scout process first?
they can join without having gone through
Okay.
the Cub program.
Okay.
Don may talk
Yeah.
about that in a second.
Yeah, and
Deb,
since you mentioned Cub
yeah,
Scouting back, yeah.
Cub Scouting has been that for many years. We had Notre Dame Church had a huge Cub pack at one time, as well as the Elks. And they used to feed a lot of scouts, a lot of boys into our scout troop. So Cubs is a great program, and once you grab a 5, 6-year-old and he goes all the way to Tigers and to become a Weebo Scout, and then they basically bridge into our program, we've got them for life, at least for their youth anyway.
Cub Scouting is for our younger scouts, and we do have a Pack 282 as well.
Okay.
And so Pack 282 is affiliated with Troop 8282. Cub Scouts, our program is very age appropriate. With our Cub Scouts, we still do outdoors. We do more activity-based programs as opposed to adventure-based. And the Cub Scouts, you've probably heard of Pinewood Derbies.
Yes.
Those are still alive and strong. We love our Pinewood Derby races, things like that, where the young men, whether they start at first grade or second grade or whatever, the program is appropriate for them. One of the most important features of scouting is our leadership training, and we start from that age of 5, 6 years old to assist a boy in learning how to be a leader. In fact, our program is recognized nationwide for its leadership training. That the United States military, if you're an Eagle Scout and you enlist in the military and graduate from boot camp or basic training, you then are advanced 2 grades upon graduation.
Really?
Because
I did not know that.
you have to be an Eagle Scout, but because of that leadership component in scouting, they assume that you already know how to be a leader. You don't have to go through all that training. And so you graduate as an E3 as opposed to an E1. So, it's a fantastic program for boys and parents to get their boys involved.
So Mark, if I commit to be in Troop 282, or if I'm interested, what am I committing to? Do we have a meeting every week? Do we have a camping trip every month? What exactly does Troop 282?
Troop 282 meets religiously every Monday night, 7:00 p.m. at the United Methodist Church. We typically have 3 meetings a week, or a month, and then we have an outing. It can be either a day outing, or it can be a camping trip, or an event. And early in November, our United Methodist Church is holding the roast beef dinner, and we'll have a service project where our scouts will come out and volunteer to help with that activity. So,
And that service project that they're taking part in is something that they can probably use to sign off to advance
that's
in their rank, right?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. From first class all the way up to life, there are requirements as an Eagle Scout. Then there's an Eagle Service Project, but all adds to the service requirement. And that's I guess that's a backbone of scouting, is that we are involved in service work for people, for their community, as well as their church.
Now, can we touch on the affordability of the program? Because I know a lot of people might be concerned about not being able to be a part of a troop because of costs, but I think that over the years, the costs have stayed very minimal.
We are probably one of the least expensive youth programs out there. Our annual membership fee is $33 a year, and the other additional costs, there is possibly some uniforming costs. It depends on the troop whether or not the troop uses this uniform. The uniform, whether you go to a thrift store or some other place to get it, or from the National Scout Supply, the uniform, the shirt probably costs around $30-40. And then we assist our scouts in doing fundraising. You guys provide fundraising opportunities for your scouts quite regularly.
Every year we hold a pancake dinner that raises funds for our scout troop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every January.
And so fees like summer camp fees and things like that are covered. There's very little out of pocket for a family.
So there's really no financial reason that someone wouldn't be able to get involved.
Yeah.
You guys are able to work with people and
Right.
get everything ironed out.
Well, I say with our scout troop, I don't know how the rest of them operate. I know that the LDS Church actually pays for the
That's correct,
registration
yes.
in their scout troops. We make scouting affordable for anybody.
Mhm.
Anybody that comes into Scout Troop 282 that cannot afford the registration fee, Boys Life magazine, can't afford uniforms, whatever, we will make it happen. So that money
figure it out.
will never, ever, or should never, ever be a deterrent for joining our scout troop, because
Right.
we will make that funding happen. Yeah.
And are you primarily Carbon County? Are you Carbon and Emery County? Where are you drawing your scouts from?
We are Carbon County. It's you know, the closest town is you know, Huntington, but it's quite, I have had scouts actually commute from Huntington to come to my scout troop through the years, but we typically would
Primarily
involve
Carbon.
from Helper and from Price.
Okay.
And so if someone
And
wants to
Wellington.
become involved, how do they do so?
They want to become involved, they can come to our meeting on Monday nights. They can give me a call, and we'll give them the information they need to join Scout Troop 282.
We
And-
also, if I can interject, we also have a scout office right down the road.
Good point.
Yes.
It's right here on 100 North,
Yes.
and it's open every day except for Saturday, Sunday. And so if they want to come in and stop in, and you know, maybe they don't have Mark's and contact information, they can just walk in and we'll get them the information they need
Perfect.
to join.
Right. Well, thank you both for providing some insight onto what the scouting is looking like here in the area, as well as how to become involved. Sounds like a lot of great opportunities for young men to get involved. So we appreciate the time that you spent with us, and if you're interested, be sure to stop by the scouting office or give them a call. They can get you all ironed out and get you on the road to be involved in the scouting. So thank you so much again.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, we're going to be back in just a few minutes with more from Inside Eastern Utah.